Ladies and gentlemen, and a brofist to you all, for Friday is here. It is the coming to the end of our week, as this week we have a weekend full of construction and building of things that are happening in our studio, and we just witnessed one of the most incredible displays of MMO player-driven content I have ever seen in my life, as the Crawlers fully devised a fully working play detailing the story of A Realm Reborn, abridged, and it was utterly ridiculously good. And if you're listening to this, whether it's you're watching it live and you missed the play, or you're on YouTube, I recommend you check it out as to what exactly can happen when players are given the tools to create their own content, because it is a mind-blowing experience. And we are literally, any subs we're getting between now and the end of the show will go towards something we can do for those guys to make themselves, support them in such a big way. They had rehearsals, they had the whole thing, music, lights, creativity, fun scenes, the whole business. It was ridiculous. But that's not why you're here right now. We are here after 1 week off because our website died. But we fixed it. To return to the weird and wonderful world of online entertainment and the people that play it, and the weird and wonderful stories that they generate themselves in similar to a play, but they do it really because I'm really my character. So if you have any tales to tell us, make sure you get them into drama@preachgaming.com. We would love to hear from you. We would absolutely love to hear from you, because there's nothing crazier than when people have anonymity behind them. So this one is, we have a number of stories from FF and World of Warcraft, which is what we want. And this one is entitled The Ghost of the Wetlands. The Ghost of the Wetlands. And I see a tag here for roleplay. Oh no. Okay. And our wonderful website supporters will be Boxwell, Advent Wolf, and Enigma. I assume that's not spelled incorrectly. Enigma. It's not typing. Woohoo. Oh, there it goes. Bit of delay. That's okay. Boxwell, Advent Wolf, and Enigma. Enigma will be our stars of today's performance. The ghost. Yes, the Ghost of the Wetlands. Okay. Without further ado, my wonderful people. That's his name? Excellent. Dear Preacher! Early last year, I told you about my 7-year-old niece, who you named Boxwell, and her glorious Mythic Plus career. Oh! Okay, if this is the story I'm remembering, and Bex can confirm on me, this was a guy who visited his niece, who was 7, who was constantly just sitting at the PC, spamming invites into M+, getting in, being carried because she was dog shit, but had overgeared him, who was a tryhard. Because she just kept spamming and getting carried, and ultimately people just four-manned the dungeon, and she would get the loot at the end, and then she would just do it again and again and again and again, and she had better gear than he did using this system. Yes, this is the story. Okay. This was brutal. This was brutal. This was a sad, sad tale of being outplayed by a 7-year-old who just spammed and spammed and spammed. I recommend you listen to that story. It's soul-crushing. I'm not sure if Bex has got a link to it, but it's probably it will be on our archive on preachgaming.com. But it's really soul crushing. It really is. She outgeared me at the start of Shadowlands just by arcane exploding through pugs, saying LOL, and generally just being oblivious to how bad she was. That was the worst part. She didn't know. She had no idea. She was just having fun. She was running around. She's pressing arcane explosion. Bosses are dying. She's having a good old time. She had no idea and just saying lol to everybody who commented on her. It was devastating. I was devastated, and it was very hard to mentally recover from what I saw. A few months later, she kicked me in the balls again. Oh no. It was her 8th birthday. I had found an amazing custom plushy blood elf online that looked exactly like her mage. When she opened it, she looked me right in the eyes. And said she was too old now for stupid World of Warcraft. Oh, that's cold. Oh, that's cold. Oh, that's so cold. Her father, who you named Advent Wolf, just laughed. I'm pretty sure they threw it out after I went home. This is the horrendous tales of being a tryhard. It is. It's the horror. The horror. That's cold. Since that day, she's become a horse girl. Oh, no. With pony pictures on her bedroom walls and kiddie polo lessons on the weekend. I can't stand horses. Same, bro. Same. So we have nothing to talk about. But she has started her own kiddie gaming YouTube channel. That I know all too well. Can't wait to chase Pokemon around Minecraft, and what luck that I happen to find the rarest one in the first 2 minutes. I just must be that good at the game. At least that's what my kids believe. So, Boxwell's mage went into the freezer. But Advent Wolf, her father, quickly found a new use for the account. You see, my wife and Advent Wolf's father, Enigma, emigrated from Guangdong province in the 60s and opened a Chinese restaurant. By 2020, he had a dozen restaurants and a seafood wholesaler. He sold it all in 2018 and settled back to enjoy spending his cash on his favorite thing in the world, the football club. Oh no. But COVID stopped the foosball. It also stopped his fishing club and his Chinese Freemasons meetings. He was going out of his mind with boredom. His wife begged us to find him something to do during the pandemic. He could play WoW. I'll give it a try, said Advent Wolf. So Advent Wolf installed World of Warcraft on a laptop and showed Enigma the game. They made him a Pandaren monk, sigh. I'm assuming some very heavy Asian influence here, though. He liked the monks. He liked the pandas. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. They made him a Pandaren monk and played the first few levels together. To our surprise, Enigma loved watching the panda run around and was keen to learn how to play it. When he discovered he could fish in the game, he was sold. May I recommend a different game that has even better fishing? I'm just saying, you can go sea fishing, you can go hunting for big fish, big catch. Just saying. I was raiding Castle Nathria at the time and doing all the stuff that goes along with it. Torghast, moor dailies, anima farming. The works. I would see him online frequently, endlessly fishing in the wetlands. One day, though, I fucked up, as we all do. I whispered him, "Hello, it's me." 2 minutes later, my phone rang. Enigma was on the other end. "It's me. How do I talk in game?" he asked me. "You just press R and type and press enter," I told him. "Which one is R?" he said. Now, that might sound ridiculous to you, but something you need to know is that despite living in Australia for more than 50 years, Enigma never learned to read and write English very well. His spoken English was pretty basic. I speak decent Mandarin, having lived for a year in Shanghai, but my wife's family are Cantonese speakers, so my Mandarin is completely useless there. Mandarin is a heroic difficulty language. That's a fair description. Mandarin is a heroic difficulty language, but, for those of you who don't know, Cantonese is Mythic plus 20. It has twice as many tones and some really bizarre sounds. I will take your word on that. I don't know. As an Englishman, I have been blessed with the gift of the rest of the world having to speak my language. Easy game, right? That's streamer privilege in a nutshell. I was blessed with the entire rest of the world having to learn my dumbass language, because apparently it's second to caveman. Easy mode. Kind of carried. Yeah, Mythic Zero. Yeah, kind of. You learn my language? Oh, God, says the American. Okay. Now, after 10 years of marriage, I still only know a few handy Cantonese phrases. The fact that Boxwell has been fluent since she was 5 drives me nuts. Oh, God, she also learned Cantonese faster than you? Outplayed again. The point is, after all this, Enigma and I can't communicate very well. But with a bit of persistence, he worked out how to message my battle tag and send whispers generally, and that My friends, after this little lesson is when it all started. Early one morning, I was racing through my more dailies before work. I was halfway through the routine when a message from Enigma arrived in the pink. Crocodile bite me. I said, crocodile bite me. I replied, there's a crocodile biting you? Yes, he said. I looked at the time. Okay, I'll come help. I halved out of the moor, took the Ouroboros portal to Stormwind, then I got on my dragon and flew northwards. Arriving in the wetlands, I sent Enigma an invite. He did not accept. Where are you? Near Crocodile, he replied. Okay. So I started to use the big brain and I followed the coastline. Sure enough, there on the beach was Enigma's panda with a crocodile biting him. I cast judgment, it died. The panda cast his fishing rod into the sea. You okay now? Okay. Great. I flew away. If I was quick, I could still finish the moor and clean up some world quests before I had to jump in the shower. I was nearly back in Archavon when... Crocodile bite me. He hadn't moved. He had just stood completely still and carried on fishing. And it's obviously respawned. Okay, I'm coming back. Crocodile bite me. I know, I'm coming. Crocodile bite me. Yes, I will be right there. Grandfather, I will be right there, I said. I flew back up the coast and found Enigma's panda and the offending crocolisk once again biting on him. I killed it. Obviously, Enigma would have to move to a safer spot. Okay, follow me, I whispered him. He didn't respond and he didn't move. Enigma, just follow me, I repeated. Nothing. His panda cast another line into the water, completely ignoring me. Come over here, Enigma, just walk with me. I tried jumping up and down in front of him, nothing. The crocolisk respawned and I killed it again. I could feel my precious, precious game time leeching away as the real world was encroaching. Frustrated, I grabbed my phone and I rang him. Hello? Son? Hi. You have to move or that crocodile will always attack you, so just follow me. I catch bluefish here, okay? Okay. But I'll show you a safe place for fishing, okay? Just come with me, I insisted. Bluefish, how many? He asked. We move you now, so you safe. I went into full talking to elderly mode. Oh, we're all familiar. A trade window opened. Enigma placed a stack of raw sagefish into the window. Thank you, Enigma, I said, and he hung up the phone. I texted Advent Wolf and explained what was going on. I asked, would he please call Enigma and explain in Cantonese that he needed to just move a few steps. I could even take him on a mount if it would be helpful. Advent Wolf, Enigma's son, just said, I don't give a shit. Just ignore him. I got work. Okay. Well, thanks, bro, I guess. Fine. What more could I do? I killed the crocolisk one more time, and then I left. Deep down, though, I knew this was going to turn into a fucking thing. I knew it in my brain and in my soul that this was going to be a thing. The first whisper arrived before I could even make it back to the moor. Crocodile bite me. I didn't do anything. But he was persistent. And the anxiety in me about the situation started to rise as more and more whispers came. He then started to include the word son. Son, crocodile, he bite me. You need to move away from them. Crocodile bite me. Help. 2 crocodile bite me. And finally, more crocodile. Help. I couldn't stand it. There was only one solution. I may be a grown-ass man, but there's only one play that's going to work in this environment. So I logged the fuck off and didn't finish my dailies. That evening was family dinner night. In the car on the way to Enigma's house, I explained to my wife what was happening because undoubtedly this situation is going to be brought up over dinner. I'm just explaining to you what went on, and I tried everything to remedy it. I promise you, please don't divorce me. I was doing everything I could. She was horrified. You see, Enigma is the boss of his whole extended family. He is the Daibat, pronounced Daibat. Being Daibat has numerous privileges. He gets to name your children. Whoa, what? He tells you what car you can buy, what parts of the city you can live in. He can order you to quit your job and apply for something else. He constantly tells my wife she's fat. And when you're dead, Daibat tells your ghost to go to heaven. Dope. How do I become a Daibat? I think we should bring this back. I want to be this. I would name your kids something fucking wacky. Like Chunkinator. And if he's dissatisfied with you, Daibat can organize a family celebration at a restaurant and at the end of it, hand you the bill. Bastard. That's fucking Chad, isn't it? Is this true? Any knowers? Any yeppers or not? Anybody know about this Daibat business? I'm Wikipediaing. Is that a yep? We've got a yeppers on this? I'm Wikipediaing. Daibat. Nothing. Chinese old culture. I can't find a link. Diabetes. I'll get there and leave. I can't find any reference to this online. I can find nothing. Daibat? Let's try that. No, I'm getting bakers and things. It's pronounced in... It's spelt like this in the story. Let me paste it in here. Anybody can find a reference? Daibat, like that, but it's pronounced Daibat, apparently. Okay, and if he's dissatisfied with you, Daibat can organize a family celebration at a restaurant and at the end of it, hand you the bill. My wife slammed down the guilty gavel and declared me the arsehole. She explained that Enigma would be mad about this, that I left him to be eaten by crocodiles, and that I should have gone straight over to his house, moved his panda to safety myself. He had to get there himself somehow, right? He must have had to get himself there to fish there. She made me pull over the car, and we had to sit and help me practice a Cantonese apology. I suggested, why don't I spend a day at the weekend teaching him how to catch better fish? When we arrived at the house, Advent Wolf was on the couch catching Pokemon. Boxwell was reclining on the staircase watching YouTube horse influencers. Oh my god, is that a thing? Oh, sweet Jesus. Everyone else in the kitchen organizing dinner, but there was no sign of Enigma. Where's Enigma? I asked my mother-in-law. She pulled a face. In the study. He plays Warcraft all day. Never stop. Always Warcraft. And I did. I went to the study and sure enough, there he was. He didn't even look up to acknowledge my existence. Hello, Enigma. Ni hao. You can't be in here, son, but love you. Oh, good. I had forgotten the rest. I went, okay, This is the moment I practiced for. Ni hao. I couldn't remember Cantonese to save my ass. I had no idea. I couldn't remember the damn thing. I couldn't remember the apology. I just went blank. I just stood there and went, Well, the apology was unnecessary. When Enigma noticed I was there, this bizarre grin crawled over his face. Son, come see, he said. I walked around and looked at his screen. The grey outline of Enigma's panda stood near a pathway to the shimmery shadow of the wetlands. Crocodiles kill me. I a ghost now, said Enigma proudly. Oh no. I found the secret level. Oh, he's found the secret ghost level. Okay, I said, with a huge grin on his face. Crocodiles can't kill ghosts, he began to explain. But he was interrupted by the arrival of a passing dwarf. At the sight of this player, Enigma sprang into action. He whispered the dwarf, I see you. And then a moment later, I am dead. Soon you dead too. Oh god, he's role-playing being a ghost. Oh no. I mean, he's got a hobby, right? He's got a hobby. As you can imagine, the dwarf just replied, what the fuck? I see you, said Enigma again, running after them. When the dwarf stopped to fight some murlocs, Enigma ran around him. Ooh, he said out loud, enjoying himself. Apparently, he had been stalking people as a ghost all day. I went and told Advent Wolf what he was doing. He just said, I don't care. For real, I don't care. He's happy. He's doing something. I don't care at all. Please stop talking to me about Warcraft. Enigma continued haunting travelers in the wetlands in this fashion until dinner time. He's haunting the wetlands. Later that night, I showed him that he could get his body back, and he was very appreciative. But ladies and gentlemen, after all these years, I thought I had seen every way to enjoy WoW, but Ghost RP was definitely new. I can tell you though, even after all these years, Enigma still plays on and off. He's accumulated several favourite spots for fishing, and he tells me that on weekends he still goes haunting. So I just want to let you all know, Oceanic players, if you're passing through the wetlands, Hillsbrad or Stranglethorn Vale. Oh, he's upgraded. Oh, he's got like a whole business going. You've got to expect it from this business-minded individual. And you feel the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. It's probably just an elderly Chinese millionaire following you around yelling, ooh, in his study. Thanks again, Bridge. Hey, thank you, but at least you didn't have to pay the food bill, right? At least you didn't have to pay the food bill. I think that's a good deal. Don't you? I think that's pretty good. He didn't have to pay the dinner for everyone. That story is S tier. I mean, I hope I'm old enough to enjoy that. To enjoy something like that for the remainder of my twilight years. I'll be more than happy to chill the fuck out and haunt people and believe I am playing the game. That will be more than happy. S tier father-in-law? I mean, I guess. I think it corresponds to that. Who's the eldest son in the family who has the greatest responsibility and greatest privileges depending on the location. Okay. I mean, I only know the pronunciation. I don't know how many of our streamers speak Cantonese. I imagine I don't particularly go strong in the Cantonese areas. Unless you're bilingual. Which some of you, practically everybody here is, besides me. Be careful who your friends are. Oh, this is going to be full of betrayal. This is going to be full of betrayal. Be careful who your friends are. Okay. We are ready for betrayal. Are you ready to be betrayed? I would imagine probably practically everybody here is bilingual except for me. I would imagine. All the other languages, I only know American. I only know American, that's it. Okay. I mean, Irish isn't a second language, is it? You know what I mean? All right. I have bad friends in Final Fantasy XIV. Impossible! impossible, non-toxic, cleaner than it is. Hello, friends! I have been a long-time listener to drama, first-time writer. Yeah, get your stories in. You know, this show doesn't happen without your tales. Get them in. I have a story that spans the ages of days long past, of days when Final Fantasy XIV's Heaven's Ward first came out. I came upon the FF14 scene right before Heaven's Ward came out. A few friends from work had convinced me to join them in this game after Arcade. Do you remember Arcade? Wow, that was a while ago. After Arcade became too boring for them, so I decided to give it a shot. Why not? I wasn't a fan of MMOs, and to be honest, I had given up on the game as soon as I began it. You saw that Moogle. Yeah, I know that feeling. I just relived it. Several months later, my friends who had introduced me to the game gave up on it, so I naturally felt inclined to also join them in being a quitter like you, Mike. I haven't quit any... But there was one friend who didn't give up on it. Hugh Nayar, my fellow co-worker. She had taken to the game like a queen to her beehive. She was such the social butterfly and knew just about everyone on the server and persuaded me to stay and play. She introduced me to friends aplenty that she knew and recently met. Being a wallflower, I took to this like a bee to honey. However, this was where the drama really began. Now, my free company, consisting of my work friends, was, as you can imagine, completely goddamn dead. So my friend Nayar decided to invite me to her newfangled free company that she had made with her new in-game boyfriend. Oh no. It was a free company, my friends, full of sprouts. And it was full of people who really wanted to help out sprouts. Now, I'm a sprout. I'm a sprout myself. And getting no help from understanding the game from my other friends on how the game actually worked, I liked our new free company. It was good. It was helpful. I quickly made friends with people in the free company, as well as our neighbors whose houses were in the same ward. I wish I could say the same. Did you know all our neighbors have locked their doors? It's probably for the best that housing's still not fixed in FF14. All of our neighbors have locked the doors. There's 4 neighbors. We've got 4 neighbors. We've got 4, I think. It's 3 or 4. We've got 3 or 4, but all the doors are locked now. We're not allowed in. Oh, we're the worst neighbors. My free company is like that sorority in the movies. That's just the fucking nightmare neighbors that have just moved in. I quickly made friends, and I became quick friends with one of the free company leaders. And to be honest, romance, I think, was in the horizon between the two of us. But it was not meant to be. Oh, that's a shocker. I became friends with a neighbor down the street, a small free company that that Nayar and I became friends with. And it was the person who Nayar decided was to be her new free company. As she had broken up with her ex. Oh God, Nayar's a guild hopper. Okay. Just hunting them down. I still don't know the whole story, but she told me her ex was controlling, so she broke it off. We joined this new free company and had the time of our lives. Nayar ended up dating one of the members, and I as well, to his best friend. Wait, are you both just hopping around dating people? It seemed like the good days would never end. But of course, my friends, it did. Before I dated my boyfriend, brackets now ex, I had got along well with the free company leader, Steve. Have I got this name? Oh, we have. Yeah, Steve, of one of our neighbors, and Nayar, whom I confided everything in, told me that I should start dating Steve. I liked him. I thought of confessing, but at the worst time, Nayar told me that she was dating one of his free company members, and I should refrain from telling him that I wanted to date him as well. Why? What is this? How old are you? You can't date someone else. You can't date Steve if I'm dating one of his members. You can't do that. Heartbroken. But I did find out later from Steve that he never dated any of his free company members, and that Nayar was heavily trying to get with Steve. Oh, Nayar wants Steve. And that she never told me that she was doing that. Eventually, I ended up dating a different Free Company member. Why? There's so much thirst here. Eventually, I did get a new boyfriend. I started dating a Free Company member called Lamanu, who happened to be the best friend of Nayar's then boyfriend. What the fuck are you two? What the fuck are you two? You two feel like a nightmare. Like an absolute nightmare. This is disgusting. Where are they though? Where are you playing? It seemed like a fairy tale. Are you falling in love as soon as somebody says yes? Are you actually falling in love the moment someone says yes to being an e-boyfriend? Like, that's it, and we're married now. Relatable. Relatable, really? But shockingly, guys, it was not meant to be. It was not meant to be. Lamanu and Nayar hated each other. And as time went on, the other would tell me to dump the other. Oh my God. Lamanu hated Nayar. She hated him. I couldn't understand it, but I still wanted the friendship, obviously. Eventually, the two refused to do anything with the other. So if I wanted to do an extreme, I had to choose between Lamanu or Nayar. It was rough. It was a rough time. As she had also told me to unfriend a fellow female Free Company member, as that friend had fallen out with her and another male friend of hers. How do you guys... I assume you're young girls. How do you get through life? I'm generalizing, I know. But as guys, we do not understand how you get through life. It just seems impossible. It's so complex. Right? It really is. So complex. Guys do this shit too. None that I know. Generally. But I said I was generalizing. There's always an exception to the rule, but none that I know like this. She'd fallen out with her and another male friend of ours that she had introduced me to. He had also fallen out with her. Little did I know that the female friend was going through a divorce with another Free Company member IRL, and the male friend was going through some IRL problems that she didn't think was excusable enough to not reply to her advances. But me, being the extrovert and trusting Nayar as my friend, I listened to her and put them both on ignore. Oh my God. Okay. Soon enough, Nayar was telling me stories of guys in game giving her things. Telling her she was beautiful and that they would do anything from her. It was reaching my ears. She told me that they were odd and randomly giving her items worth over 1 million or more, or even money sometimes. It was strange to her, but I didn't take into account that she was gleefully, of course, accepting all these monies. Eventually, shit hit the fan when Lamanu, who had changed servers, decided he wanted to come home, and she threw the biggest fit in history. Nayar wrote me a 400-word essay. Okay, generalization speaking, I've never known a guy write an essay about something like this. Nayar wrote me a 400-word essay on why Lamanu should not be allowed to join our Free Company, and that he was a disgusting human being who shouldn't have any contact with us. She wasn't wrong. I did end up dumping that trash, but at the same time, Nayar wasn't being wholesome either. Jesus fuck. She denied him return to our Free Company and decided to leave. And I decided to leave our Free Company, but still wanted to be friends, even so much as staying on our server. But Nayar took my leaving as betrayal. From then on, she forbade people in our guild to even speak to me. And one of them even ignored me at work IRL. You're working. You're of working age. Huh. No shit. My co-workers thought she was being ridiculous, as was I. But being young and dumb, I felt that it was justified. But I still kept on being pleasant to her, even though she pretended that I didn't exist. Eventually, I decided to move servers to be with Lamanu, and all the answers came out when I said my goodbyes to people. Friends whom I had introduced to her came to me, telling me that she had been flirting, dragging many of them along so that she could date them or at least have their attention and take their money. Steve, who I previously had a strong rapport with, had come out and told me that she had strongly hit on him, but he was a man of morals and would and refused her, as she was dating my ex's best friend at the time. He's a man of honor, man of code. Yeah. As she proceeded to slander him. It was only then that I realized she had cock-blocked me. But she wanted him because she wanted Steve instead, the Chad. Another friend, again male, came to me and told me that she had confessed to him that she would have chosen him if he had been more forward than her boyfriend, and being uncomfortable about the confession, as he was friends with her boyfriend, chose to ignore her, and she chose to slander his good name as well. I was a fool. I was an idiot. I didn't know what Naya had been doing, and she hadn't told me about her stupid endeavors to make a harem of all the males on the server. You really couldn't tell? Really? You couldn't tell? No signs, is what you're saying. No flags. Nothing. You just couldn't see it. Forest for the trees, I'm going with. Forest for the trees. But it was only until I was leaving that her faults were told to me. Male friends far and wide told me that she was slag. You slag. You slag. Flirting and promising things when she was already taken. I was disgusted. She even decided it was a good idea to hit on our gay free company member who was married, that she wanted him to confess his love to her. She's going for the turn. Hey, she's pulled all the hetero men. She's going for the turn. I had enough. I left the server with no qualms. Good riddance to her. Though it was known to me later that Lamanu had harbored feelings for her because of their flirtatious relationship that I didn't even know about. He confessed to me that Naya had been the one who he had been infatuated with. But since she had chosen his best friend, he decided to deal with me, the second best. That's romantic AF, that is. That's some romantic shit right there. I do like you. You're the second best. Let's date. I spent 3 years with him. Of course you did. But I want you to know, stream, I did grow up. I dumped his ass and learned that it wasn't my job to take care of a jobless Welsh who refused to work. True. But my new server proved problems of its own. Oh my god. A story for another time. Things I never learned IRL, I had learned in game, and I realized that it's best to shut my mouth when drama's afoot, so I decided to start anew and return home to my old server. I reconnected with my old friends, but I didn't try with her, you know who I mean, who had lied to me through the years gone past. I don't think I've still quite forgiven her for lying to me. All our friends welcome me with warmth, but they still don't trust her, the same as I don't. She's reached out to me once, but it's hard to forgive people who've lied to you and used you. Be careful with your friends. Remember that friendships go both ways, my friends. Always listen to the other side before you pass judgment. How old are you? This is like... I'm very curious. This is kind of like... My kids know this? Can't be older than 14. They work. They're at work. They have a working lifestyle. So that's got to be 18, 21, maybe. It feels like a decade-long tale. Okay. Let's have some sabotage. Can be 16 and work. I started work at 16, but... Yeah, okay. Yeah, could be 16. Could be 16. Could be. It feels very young, right? It feels very young. Just passed from pillar to post. And you really couldn't see the signs. Interesting. You really couldn't tell. The incident. Oh, God, we've got an incident. There's an incident. Brace yourselves. There's an incident. How many guys did you date in that story? We need a guild name. Okay. We need a guild name. So we're looking for something Wrath of the Lich King era, full of cool dudes, full of chill swag fellas. What's our guild? The Theatre Crew, the Blinders, the Smack Daddies. Yes, that's the one. The Smack Daddies. That's very, very Wrath of the Lich King. The Smack Daddies. We're going to smack Daddy up. I like it. We're smacking Daddy. Greetings, Preacher! This is a tale that has followed me as a meme for as long as I can remember. My friends have always tried to get me to submit it to Drama Time, and with Wrath of the Lich King Classic announced, I figured this is as good of a time as any. Let me start by saying that I do not need the judgment of the court. Your gavel is not required. I am guilty. Okay. We put the gavel down. I am guilty. Okay. Agree. He understands. He does not demand our judgment. We do not need to render verdict, my friends. As you could surmise from the title, this of course takes place during Wrath of the Lich King. Up until the launch, I had been playing various Horde characters since the Burning Crusade pre-patch, but I was dreadful. Just the worst. I was a clicker. I had no keybinds. I refused to use add-ons because I thought they were hacks. And I was playing on a laptop. Not only that, it was a notebook that was very much not for gaming. Yes, I was a clicker that used a trackpad. Oof. O-O-F. Oof. Needless to say, I did not do much successful raiding. That guy sounds hardcore. It sounds like my worst nightmare, if I'm being honest with you. It sounds like my worst nightmare. So let's go forward to Wrath. And my IRL friends convinced me to re-roll onto Alliance. Oh, it's just failure after failure after failure. And re-roll DK to play with them. I'm in full hype mode. I bought myself a mouse in excitement. Round of applause. Round of applause. Round of applause. Bought himself a mouse in excitement. I researched becoming better. Leading up to the Wrath of the Lich King launch, I started doing Zulaman time runs on my Horde prop paladin to learn to tank and was fully prepared to join the Death Knight world. Come launch then, I leveled super fast. At cap, I was tanking dungeons for my friends, was excited to get into raids with them. However, one thing they hadn't informed me on, after encouraging me to re-roll, to join them, to make a Death Knight, to tank for them, is that none of their guilds needed a tank. I can't express to you how annoyed I was. I had been researching and practicing tanking with them for 4 months. And not once had they mentioned, despite us constantly talking about me joining them on the Alliance, that they did not need a tank. At this point, my new brain, of course, only held knowledge of tanking. So swapping to a different role was not something I could just do. It was out of the question. Every single bit of research, all that practice that I had been putting in, it would have been for nothing. Luckily, as some of you will know, early Wrath of the Lich King raids were dog shit easy. I wonder if they're going to boost that for Wrath Classic, because they are stupidly easy. Besides the hard modes, but they're stupidly easy. I found myself able to just pug out of trade chat to main tank Nax Ramus runs and quickly acquired quite a lot of gear, actually. Though I was still missing out on harder content. Sartharian 3 Drakes, Immortal, you know the ones. So I stayed in this little rut of mine until, of course, the launch of the best raid of all time, Ulduar. And I decided it was time. I must seek out a home. I must find myself a guild and leave this pug paradise that I had been enjoying. One day, while sitting in Dalaran, a macro caught my eye. The Smack Daddies was recruiting a Death Knight tank for Ulduar. Apparently their previous tank had moved up to a more better guild. I recognized the guild name as the one that my paladin friend had gotten his starting raiding with. I used his name as a reference and joined as a trial. The guild master of the Smack Daddies was Funky, a warlock, And he was, in your words, a turbo nerd. Nice. That's what you want out of your GM. He was a nice enough guy, but a very strict raid leader. This didn't really match the tone of the rest of the relatively casual players that clearly weren't trying as hard. Oh god, oh no, we've got a try-hard raid leader and raiders that do not want to try hard. Okay. What a good combo. What a good combo. We will be a mythic raid team, man. Just gotta believe. We get into Ulduar. We make some decent prog. I'm accepted into the guild, and over a month or so of progress, I am promoted to an officer. That was fast. At this point, things start to grind to a halt. The guild reaches its progression cap. We get hard stuck on bosses due to more casual players. I, as a youngster playing a video game, was not what you would call patient. I was seeing multiple guild passes that I considered to be scrub lords and started to become frustrated. Oddly enough, there was also a shortage of geared DK tanks on my server at the time, which made me curious. I could jump ship quite easily. I had been given quite a lot of loot as the main tank of this guild. I could maybe go somewhere better with all the shit they had given me. Things reached the beginning of the end when Funky called a special officer meeting and explained that he was going to be out of town for a few raid nights and he couldn't avoid it. He was going to need someone to be in charge while he was gone. For whatever reason, Funky liked me the best out of the officers and suggested that I should take up that role. Having led pugs with my old Naxxramas history, I figured it was no big deal and blindly said, sure, why, no problem. I was promoted to a pseudo GM rank within the guild and was instructed to give it back when he returns. Why do you need to promote to GM? Why? Why? Why did you... Oh. Now, Kawinkadink shows up. It was around this time that the second best guild on the server sent me a message in the pink. Would I be interested in doing a little triley-wiley with them? They were working on Mimeron Firefighter. I had been given this increased responsibility. I'm not an arsehole. I felt I needed to at least stick around for the lockout and lead the raid while Funky was gone. So I told them, it's very possible, but I have to do this. I'll come back to you. So we get to raid night. I'm unsure if all the guilds did this in Wrath, but we would run Vault of Archavon as a raid group in order to disperse tier pieces. Yes, of course. For tier loot, we'll go to the end of the earth for tier loot, baby. Absolutely. Tier pieces the bosses drop to any guildies that might still be missing some tier set bonuses. Rather than relying on rolls in a pug, I send out invites and we rock up to the Vault of Archavon. For our FF14 friends, Vault of Archavon is a raid boss that drops tier tokens, good quality loot, but it's only available if your team wins a big outdoor battleground. So it wasn't always available. So you had to like pick your slots. So some guilds did it, some guilds didn't. You could put. It was very easy. You could pug it, but it was once a week. Wintergrass was fun as hell. Could be. It was a great idea. So you had to win the battleground, and then you had access to the raid boss for 4 hours, I think, and then the fight would start again. I think it was 4 hours. Am I wrong on that? Something like that. We knock out the first boss very easily. Then we move on to the second wing, which is the storm boss. For those that don't know this boss or didn't play in Wrath, it was really easy. There's a chain lightning that you just spread out for, a melee AoE that you just run away from, and an ad that needs to be killed before it reaches a certain amount of energy, and then otherwise you wipe. Yeah, it was something about that. In terms of difficulty, think about it as like an outdoor world boss that you just turn up to and kill. And that's about as difficult as it is. It's essentially a nice free loot pinata. I'm not sure what caused the massacre that followed, but my guild wiped for hours. I mean that, Mike. Literally 3 hours. How? How could you not solve the problem in 3 hours? I don't think I've ever wiped that boss in a pug. How? I don't know. Let's see what he says. Was it our hard-ass GM, Funky, not being around that caused everyone to play terribly? Was it my raid leading? Did I walk past a black cat that day? The world may never know, and at a certain point, I clearly remember seeing the entire melee roster die to the melee AoE for what seemed like the dozenth time and just closed my laptop in despair. A few hours later, I log into the game, only to be met with a barrage of messages in officer chat. I feigned innocence and claimed, power went out, bro. We had no power, bro. I had no power. But everyone, of course, knew that it was ultra convenient and I was absolutely full of shit. Many insults were hurled at me and my abilities to lead the guild in Funky's absence, with the blame of all the deaths being my fault. I didn't take this lightly, as I thought I'd done a good job of explaining the fight, calling things out, especially because we have killed this many times already. I took all of this on the shoulder and figured, well, I probably deserve all the flack for ninja logging, and things will just go back to normal when Funky gets back. Then, one of the officers said, we're going to be making sure Funky knows about this. And honestly, after your one try at trying to lead the guild and what happened, we're putting forward a recommendation that you be kicked from the guild. It was at this time, my friends, that I chose violence. Remembering full well that I had full GM powers under my new rank, I went over to the guild bank, started taking everything. I shot a whisper over to the rank 2 guild and confirmed my trial for the following week. The officer chat was going mental once they noticed that the guild bank was being emptied of anything useful. But there was nothing they could do. I promptly G-quit, put some stuff on the auction house, and just logged the fuck out for the night. A few days later, Funky returned and whispered me when we happened to be online at the same time. He had some choice words for me, as you can imagine. Fair enough, I thought. He then went on to say, I can't believe you would do something like this to me when I was at my mother's funeral. Ooh. Well, shit. Yes, correct. Well, shit. Ah, fuck. That is a well put. Well, shit. Looks like I made a mess of this one. I went to reply, but was already on ignore. I would like to say that I went on to be great. But that wouldn't be true. You might wonder how my trial went with the second guild. Did my guild tell them what I had done and cancel my trial? No. I wasn't good enough. I was dog shit on Firefighter and was kicked almost immediately. It's not an easy fight, to be fair. In all fairness, it's not a particularly easy fight. Firefighter was my trial for method, by the way. It fucking sucked that they made me do that. I had to tank the fucking flying robot on my warlock. That was my trial, because none of the other warlocks could be arsed anymore, and I was trial bitch. That was literally my first ever method trial, was to tank the Firefighter on my warlock. Fuckers. Did it, though. Bonus epilogue. Months later, around the trial of the Crusader, I was playing on my alt rogue. That was just my DK's name shortened with the word fail at the end. So imagine it like preach fail. And one of my friend's friends was back in my old guild. Would you believe I got invited to the guild again, with no one suspecting it was me? Yeah. Many people in Drama Time do this for some reason. I didn't steal anything besides soaking up some loot this time. So you robbed the guild bank and got invited back to the guild on an alt. You fucking rat bastard. I was only ever found out when the friend of a friend exposed me after I had to explain to him that on meters you're supposed to sort by damage done, not DPS. He did not handle losing very well. And to chat, the moral of my story is maybe don't be a selfish dick. You never know what someone is going through outside of the game. I learned that the hard way. Did you give it back, though? There is a part missing from this story, Moneybags. Did you give it back? Because it doesn't sound like you did. You're trying to put down this moral compass that you've laid down. But did you repay what you'd taken? Did you make it right? Did you restore the balance of the scales? Because it doesn't sound like you did. It sounds like you fucking kept it, Mr. It was at a funeral, and you kept it all anyway. He got blocked, though. I don't think everybody in the guild would have blocked him. I think he could have sent a message some other way. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have either. Rebalancing is for pause? Okay, you guys have become giga-toxic. You guys have become giga-toxic. I was going to bring us the end of drama today. My children are in the other room. It's been a hell of a last couple of days. If you did not check out Allcraft last night, I reckon you should. It was a good show with me, Asmon, and Rich. If you missed the extraordinary Final Fantasy XIV Tales of a Realm Reborn in-game performance that happened today, it is absolutely mind-blowing. I recommend you check it out. Can't wait for Season 2. Yes, that is amazing. Other than that, I'm going to be doing construction this weekend, so there probably won't be a stream. But we will be back to FF6, etc. On Monday. We are currently playing some FF6 and hunting down Espers, and Sid is evil, and it's all pretty fucking terrifying. Biggs and Wedge are bad guys now. We don't like it. We don't like it. But have a great weekend, whatever you're doing, all right? Spend some time with people you like, all right? That's all I'll do. Love you all, guys. See you later.